Hangout. All the speakers up and running. Welcome to Code Hangouts number 143. Today we're going to work on the accounts. A minimum viable product. All official like. Uh-oh. YouTube already complains about the birth rate. Restream, do not screw me today. I want to go through that mess again. We already got a warning. Let's see if the YouTube stream is working. Otherwise, we might have to restart. Okay. It's live now. Alright. Audio's off. Nice. Change. What is the bitrate? I'm gonna test the bitrate by dancing. Okay. Seems to be alright. 50 megabits? Really? That seems unlikely. Network connection speed. Oh, that's the connect. Okay, alright. It does say. Let me see if I move this around. Hey, Kinder, I don't think that's. I think. Is that the one? Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna bring that over here for later. Alright, so today I'm going to finally start one of the main tasks for the last 2 weeks, which is an account system. So the account system is basically something that's been planned since the very start of SudokuPad. I always knew this is where I would like to take it eventually. And I've been suffering from not having it. So today we're gonna kind of start working towards a sort of first early release version of something like that. Sort of kind of what are the minimum systems we need in place to make that work. And there's a couple of subsystems we've been working on or have been thinking about. We're gonna write a few things down. So, what are the goals? All right. So I guess like I don't really care about the identity of the solvers per se. So it's not like I'm tracking their, I need to track their credit card number or their address or something because we're not shipping products or anything like that. It's more about something they need, right? They want to store information that carries over across all the different SudokuPad options, mobile apps, different browsers, etc. So I think one of the primary goals will be to have cloud saves for solving progress. I think that's kind of the big thing that solvers care about, right? What else? I think solvers also care about tracking their progress across multiple puzzles. So they want to see how they've performed in puzzles in the past. And they want to be able to play multiple puzzles in parallel to get back to a puzzle, to, show something to somebody, yada, 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 right? So, puzzle/solve history. We also want, I think, there's some social features that are quite important. I definitely personally want to go deeper into all sorts of social stuff. But primarily, I think people want to kind of comment on puzzles, rate puzzles, etc. Right? So, social puzzle interaction, comments, ratings, right? But also things like, and I think I'm gonna order them in the sort of complexity, because this immediately adds a whole bunch of complexity, users seeing other users' data. So I think we'll start, the minimum viable product will be mostly people tracking their own data and not really interacting with other people. I think that'll come later, right? So, cloud saves of progress, right? Solve history, puzzle and solve history. And then I think the next one is things like bookmarks, right? So, people might come across a puzzle and want to mark it down for later, or they want to share a list of puzzles, or add a list of puzzles to their account to solve through, right? So we want to have puzzle bookmarks slash lists. So we wanna be able to add a puzzle to a list, and it's like, hey, here are the hard puzzles, or here. Am I on the screen properly? My stream. Oh yeah. Oh, my stream seems to be super far behind. Let me think. Are we okay? No, Twitch is up to date. Why is my restream so? Restream seems to be. The preview seems to be really far behind. Are we okay? I think we're okay. Hey there. Yeah, no. And in fact, I'm probably for the MVP, I don't want to actually track any user information directly. So I want to go through like a third-party system, like, you know, log in with your Google account or whatever, right? Even though that's not ideal for everybody, but you know, some sort of open ID kind of thing, because I do not want to deal with all the complexities of, you know, this will come down the line, right? But initially, I want to enable these things, right? And maybe this kind of down the line. So I'm wondering which ones of these, I should probably tag them, right? So I'll tag these as MVP. Or maybe we'll just do, so say, post MVP, right? And then we can put something like this there. And even puzzle bookmarks and lists, we don't really need that for the MVP, right? So we'll need identity, or we'll do just sign in. And OpenID, well, we'll see, because some people don't have Google accounts, but I think with OpenID I can do like Facebook and Google and Git and whatever, right? We'll need a way to reference the puzzles, so we definitely need the puzzle ID, right? And there's another subsystem I'm working on. Let me just look at the plan. What did I call it? Cloud Sync, right? So let me add that as well. We'll call this Cloud Sync. And that's another of the subsystems, right? I'm gonna just do, oops, nope, this. Down here, put that up here, that, these, I don't like arrows, and we'll call this Cloud Sync, right? And Cloud Sync is, I've been thinking about a way of basically fulfilling this without user accounts, but it's so close to user accounts that it's basically just the technology behind it, but instead of, you know, using an OpenID token, we'll just generate a random token and say, okay, you can use this token on another browser to retrieve your data, and we erase your data in 30 minutes, right? So in theory, anybody can retrieve it with that token, but in theory, that's also true with a OpenID sign-in token, right? So subsystems would be the PuzzleDB, would be a Cloud Sync, and obviously UserDB, right? We'll need some kind of reference to users, and data that is user specific. But in this case, it's actually the Cloud Sync is where most of this data will be, the puzzle and solve history, right? There's just a one-to-many, hey, like here we have a bunch of puzzle progress in this database, and then a user says, hey, these are mine, right? That kind of thing. Puzzle ID, no, puzzle DB. Actually, I'm not gonna put that in requirements, because, you know, that's our subsystems. So when I say requirements, yeah, so we need to be able to, I mean, the subsystems kind of fulfill the requirements, right? So we want to be able to, because one of the issues right now with puzzle progress is it doesn't actually reference the puzzle directly. So it's indirectly referenced through the ID. And now I'm thinking about it, puzzle ID needs to actually look at the puzzle IDs. So puzzles have an internal ID, which is currently a bit of a mess because it's not guaranteed to be unique. And that ID is actually used to compare progress. But that ID is often just randomly generated. So there's a possibility for collisions, right? So we need to kind of figure that out. And that's metadata we should really extract in the PuzzleDB project. But that's actually not what I'm writing here. But we're gonna I definitely couldn't the puzzle versions. I'm gonna write to do here. Extract puzzle.id from puzzle data. I'm gonna write it as puzzle. God, really? As puzzle.id, because puzzle ID is actually generally what refers to like the short ID, or anyway, it's internal stuff. I'll know what it means, I hope. And this is not clues sync, it's cloud sync. Right. All right. So, other goals. I mean, people, like, there's a lot of stuff we want to put in there, but for the MVP specifically, right? It's not, we don't want to do all the things, right? I'm trying to think. So, there's, in terms of personal data, and by personal, I don't necessarily mean PID, personal identifier. I mean, like, we need to be able to refer to the user, right? We don't want to refer to them by dear user, right? But that might be information we can get from the OpenID system. But I also don't want to say dear email address, right? I don't know if we want to ask for username or for first name. I don't know if username makes sense in these systems, actually. So let's think about this for a sec. Requirements. We'll need sign in, right? And one of the sign in systems I'm going to look at is called Kinder. Nope, and that's not it. Kinder authentication. I just got advertised at me a bunch of times on on Twitter, and I feel weird that I'm checking it out. But you know, in the modern world with all the GDPR requirements and all this stuff, getting that stuff set up without sweat and tears is actually quite valuable. Best customers SOC is a global recognized compliance framework for system. Oh my god! All right, Americans are certified practicing. Product developers. Yeah. All right. Use management, organizations, access management, management. Scripted profile authentication, customer identity. You have never seen authentication customer identity like this before. Social proof built in. I don't even care about fake sign-ins. I just want to manage. Like, I don't care about real users and all this stuff. Let's look at pricing. 10,500 monthly active users sounds well within my scope. In fact, let's have a quick look at, like, if I go last 30 days, right? Something crashed. Oh yeah, I installed an update to the graphics driver. So unique visitors, this is not true. Because Plausible does not run data like cookies. It doesn't use cookies, so it cannot really identify unique users correctly. So now Google Analytics, we used GA4. It should be this one, right? So at least it should give us unique users for last 30 days. So 137,000 unique users. Okay, so it's still more than I expected. But let's see, sessions, 1 million sessions versus, we compare it to Plausible where it says total visits 1.8 million. And I guess sessions is similar to visits, right? Sessions, visits, no, views, we have views, session. Yeah, so this might tell us that either the undercounting of sessions here is related to the users, So it's closer to page views. Can we just have page views, actually? I guess that's what views is, right? Views. So if views undercounts by 1.2 to 1.8, say... Okay, I'm going to actually do the math on this. 1.2 divided by 1.8. By 33%, I guess? By half? Well, this is half of that, but it is 33% the other way around, right? So if it undercounts by 33%, so this would be, let's say 140,000. 33% of that is about 14 divided by 3. Like 35. So add another 35 to this, so 170,000, right? So this is roughly 4x. Now, 170,000 is more than the 10K we just saw on here for the free turn. But I think 10% of all users getting an account might make sense. Yeah, like I don't actually care. Like this is something I can let users choose. Hey, you know, choose a name that you want to be addressed by. Like it's not even a unique username. That stuff won't be necessary until later, until we have social features where, you know, if somebody wants to write a comment, they need some sort of name they can use, right? So we might even call it just label, right? And it's at this stage, it would just be internal. Like now that information would be shown to somebody else. So I think we're like we could even just request a first name and use that or whatever, right? Or we could just make it neutral and say, hey, user. And I'm thinking 10K is probably a good goal, like 10,000 signed in users. I mean, to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with that. And then it's, let's see, per user included, per edition. Advanced features to help scale and I mean, it sounds like this is manageable. 25 euros a month, dollars a month. Now, there are other things. I mean, I've used passport.js before and so on. So I don't necessarily need these guys. But at the same time, I'm also, you know, labor limited. So let me just sign up with these guys just to see how easy it is to set that up. Although that is, well, it might be the focus of today's stream after all. All right, so let's just put these in our spreadsheet. I think these make sense. As our initial goals. And I mean, down the line, the other thing we want to have is we want to have like a pro account. You know, I'm looking into putting ads on the site, not for everybody and so on and so forth. But it might be that if you have a user account, you just don't see ads, right? I think that might be a fair compromise initially. All right, requirements, sign in. What else? What else? We need a sign in. We need a dashboard, right? And now that's the other thing, right? So we need integration with the app itself. So we need client integration. So you need not just, I don't just need a separate account section. I need, when you're playing in SudokuPad, the app needs to be aware of who you are or cloud saving your stuff, right? We need the syncing. So syncing might be an issue. Like we need to figure out how we can ensure progress gets synced without progress getting overwritten. So progress syncing without progress. I don't even know how to express that. But basically the idea is if you're playing the same puzzle on multiple devices, we don't want to overwrite your progress, right? And it's not necessarily trivial because the progress right now is not, there's not a lot of date stamping and metadataing going on, right? So then we'll just put these things in here for now. And we don't want to write too much. I mean, it is supposed to be a MVP, and if it's too big, we're gonna run into trouble, right? I'm gonna... Whoops. I'm not gonna do it in the time that I'm setting myself, right? Now these kind of are already understood under construction. UserDB doesn't, or Solver, call it SolverDB. No, UserDB because, you know, this will include setters as well. Although the MVP, I don't know if the MVP should cater for puzzle ownership. Like if this is targeted towards solvers only initially. Because puzzle ownership is like a whole other can of worms, right? Puzzle authorship. I'm gonna put that in there with a question mark. Because I'm not sure if that's within the scope of the MVP. But the idea would be, do we wanna use this system initially also to track, like, hey, you're the author of this puzzle, you know? Because there's not an easy way of certifying that right now. So it'll probably be initially manually. So I know a lot of the people that I'm gonna include into this initial sort of test run, right? And in fact, I'm gonna put that as a, what did I just do? Not what I want to do. I'm gonna do a sort of limited test run, right? Limited release. Limited, how do you say? When people do like, hey, we have invites or whatever. Limited, God, it's not a release because we're not releasing it. We're inviting, invite only launch. Yeah, so the launch will be invite only. So it'll be like, hey, the people I know that I can certify who they are, trying it out, you know, the common, like the users on the Discord, people I can communicate with easily, not just anybody, right? So I think that makes sense for the MVP. And then I'm gonna add this down here just so I have a place where I can dump these kind of things, you know. So I don't have to track them somewhere else. All right. And then I think we don't need this. Yeah. Now, let's have a quick look at this. Region. Should it be US or should it be Europe? I mean, our traffic is generally bigger in the US. 30% US. But then there's a lot. Actually, it's big in Europe, right? Because if you add up all these European numbers, that's 20. That's 30. So yeah, we'll put it in Europe. I think that makes sense, and even makes sense in terms of GDPR and all that sort of thing. I'm just going through the Kindle sign-up process. I don't want to really do it on screen because it does. I don't know what it'll show. Seems to have stalled already. Uh-oh. No errors in the console. Oh, I think we're in. Use Kindle with my existing code base. Yeah, I don't really like them. I don't like it when they want me to take over what you're working with. Provide the right. Tell us about your tech. It's all JavaScript, buddy. It's all JavaScript. All JavaScript. It's not even Express.js. It's all raw. Node.js. Here we go. I might use Express.js actually. It might make sense to start with Express.js on this one. JavaScript. We have this. Well, actually, right now, does it want me to choose one of these? Or two? Because obviously I have a front end and a back end, so if I choose that. Alright, let's just do that. How to use a sign in. I don't want to sign via email. I think Twitter. I don't think a lot of people don't use Twitter, but it would be nice if they had other things. Yeah, like Apple account would be good. Discord would be great. GitHub, because we have a lot of tech folks. Patreon, because obviously I want them to support me. Twitch, because people are watching me on Twitch. I think that makes sense. I'm almost tempted to remove X just because of the freaking social, political implications that I don't want to deal with. Alright. I don't mind you getting me started with something. Start a kit. I hope that is not real data. Do I want to right now actually... Yeah, I guess I can do this right now. This is just sort of an example. This isn't gonna be... This isn't gonna be the final thing, right? I can use this as an example to get set up, get my my feelers in. Oh, Express.js starter kit. All right. What does it want me to do? npm install. All right, can do that. And set up your local environment, clone the repo, install dependencies, make a copy, blah, blah, blah. So we're gonna have a bunch of credentials, and that's always a bit of a pain in the ass to deal with on stream. Make a copy. Okay, so let's just do this. Open folder. Git root. What did we call it? Express.js starter kit. Right. Boom. So, what do we got here? Clone this repo, install dependencies with them. Make a copy of npm sample. Right. I'm not used to streaming this time of the day, and right now the sunlight is so bright, I'm like struggling to see what's on the screen. Just an anecdote, almost always uses a new email account instead of those linked thingies. Don't ask me why. That will be completely up to you, right? I don't even want an email address, to be honest, right? So it's up to you. I'll add whatever, but that's the thing. I'm gonna get started as quickly as possible with an MVP. It might exclude some people, right? I know there's some very privacy conscious people in the community. They don't use your real names, they blah blah blah, right? Down the line, I want to do my own sign-in. I don't know if I can ever avoid using an email account for, like, you know, account recovery and all this stuff. But I wouldn't mind having, like, especially, like, I wouldn't mind building my own sort of custom sign-in mechanism where you just have, like, a, you know, 60-bit, 60-character random string that's your recovery code. And instead of emails, you can use that to reset your password or whatever, right? Or you just talk to me directly. Like, this is not, we're not talking millions of users here. Yeah, I don't know what, the weather, to be honest, I'm not happy with here because it's only April and it's 21 degrees today and it's a cooler day. Like, we've had it 27, 28 degrees. This is gonna freaking fry us. And I am not a hot weather person. All right, so it wants me to, now that makes me concerned that that ID is actually relevant. So, one second, I have a second editor open over here. So we're gonna open that. And we're gonna hopefully, so we're gonna copy that cp.env some. What? God damn it! I need to disable that key. Why is my tab completion not working? Oh, cp.env do.env. Right. So now we should be able to do that. And can I? No, I can't zoom that down without zooming all that down either. I'm gonna, yeah, I can keep that open, right? I'm probably gonna have to reset it all if I do anything on stream here. It's removing something. Client secret. No, wait. Issuer URL client site. 1 second. Because the sample they're giving me here has a different order of things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's missing one. In the post logout redirect URL, client ID. It's missing the client secret. Okay. What does it say here about the client secret? Well, I'm just gonna. I mean, we still have the sample, right? So if I do npm start here, and it'll fail. Required configure parameter has an invalid value. Has an redirect URL has an invalid value defined. Well, that is not a good sign if your example already breaks. That's not good. Unless their documentation is out of date. Because, issue URL, that issue URL logout. Okay, I'm gonna reorder them according to the original sample because this is making it kind of hard to see what's going on. Yeah, that's sometimes why I don't like using pre-made stuff, because if something goes wrong, you kind of shit out of luck, right? Post logout redirect, client ID, client secret, and kinder redirect URL. So kinder redirect URL, that's missing. Okay. So that's literally, okay, so then their documentation is out of date. Okay, that's bad. All right. And the users page is somewhere here. All right. Let's just go to localhost 3000 and see what it looks like. Now, I don't want them to provide me with a whole freaking page. But on the other hand, if it gets me started, hey, you know. So sign in. Nothing. Oh, no? Okay. We do this? I think this might be to do. It should be safe. I mean, if it's not safe. Oh, you want to create an account? Sure. Build important stuff. Woohoo, okay. So we're signed in. Okay. Now, if I restart this, right, and refresh this, so this is all in memory. Okay. Okay, you know, we can do that. We can work with that, I think. So we can, let's go to here. So goals, requirements, subsystems, post VM. Let's make a caption for MVP, actually above the post MVP, right? We'll do MVP implementation. Boom. Right? And we're gonna add buff. I'm gonna add two. Can I do two below? No. Insert two below. There we go. Use kinder blah blah blah. What's it called? Kinder authentication. Why not? Auth provider kinder. So that's just a start, right? I don't know how much this Express starter kit provides in terms of kind of bits and bobs, right? So if we look at public views, assets, layouts, main, oh, it's using, what the hell? Pug. All right, I'm not familiar with Pug. What would you like to do? Okay, let's get down to what's the minimal. So I guess basically what I need to do now is need to rebuild this from scratch. And in fact, maybe now is the time to actually create a project place for this, right? So what do we call it? to... good question, actually. We need a project name for this, because I don't want to just stuff it in with the SudokuPad repos and so on. UserDB is kind of lazy. User accounts. SudokuPad accounts. Pad accounts? User pads? Maybe user pads? Thinking of the word pad as, you know, a cool word for place to live. My pad. SudokuPad users. SudokuPad accounts. Let's call it SudokuPad accounts. Boom. Yeah. I'm gonna hate that, but okay. So, what do we need? We need, we'll make it a Git repo. No, we're gonna do npm init. Yep. Whatever. Yes, okay. So, npm install save. We'll need this, I'm guessing. Well, we need Express. Right? We'll need this. And I think we can do without the other stuff. For now. Okay. So, what happens when we're running app.js? We're gonna do dear src. Okay, dear nah. Yeah, we're gonna do touch server.js just to get us started. And then this is gonna be our reference, right? And we'll probably need to go here and add another project. Add project. So we're gonna put that right around here. Probably above Sudoku Tools. Pad dash accounts. Yeah, I don't think we need that here. Remove that. All right, source server. Okay. And I think we can get rid of this now. And now we're going to... I don't want to just copy it over, right? We need to kind of learn how this works as well. So, .env, I hope we can do without. If I do this, do I need to change to the module type and all this stuff? Let's have a quick look if that's what they're... ooh. Double click that. Main app.js. They didn't say anything about MJS. Do I want to move to modules though? I think so, because in the past when I didn't, it caused me headaches down the line. So I'd rather go through the paint early rather than late. So if we do type module, actually, is that a recommended thing? I still don't know to this day. Node is module recommended. Because that's the new way of doing it, right? Not the old way. No. Is Node.js is type module recommended. Node.js version or later the type module declaration package is no longer necessary. Experimental detect module flag. Ugh. That's interesting. I mean, that they couldn't automatically detect it in the past already was a bit of a weird thing. In Node.js, you only need to type module as explained here. If you're using Node.js, and you should, if you can, and since it's LTS, you don't need to use There's midterm. If you're still stuck with low version of Node for something, yeah, no, okay. Name your best remote app MJS. Unless I'm missing something, you still need either clear type module in package or use MJS extensions. Type module in your package. Find your source code should use import syntax. We do not have. Let's use type module. It's worked on projects. So where was I looking at? I was looking at it somewhere. Here. Yeah, let's do that. And open that. And we'll do that. Type module. And we'll do src server. Alright. We'll change this to tabs because what the hell? Indent using tabs. Boom. Right. So that should be import Express from, what's the syntax? We can possibly decode from. I still don't understand why they changed that. It's so equivalent. The worst kind of backwards incompatibility. All right. And then we want to do these guys. And I'm going to change this to tabs before I go absolutely crazy. Who would indent with spaces? It's such a ridiculous idea. Import from. Now, this is possibly not the correct syntax. If I go npm start here, script start npm. Do we not have npm? Shouldn't start be default? I guess not. So I don't really know why the main is used or needed. Seems a bit strange. Named inspect not found. Oh shoot. Is that gonna be a problem? Do I actually have to go back to the other, the non-thingamagic thing? Alright, let us look for this. In the module. Just. Because generally speaking, that's the sort of thing that will get people complain about. It's already a bad sign that the docs are out of date. Does this not support module.js? Now here they're using import. This is a little concerning that they don't seem to understand what version of things they have here. Module. I mean, here it says type module. In the Node Express, can we see examples? Express.js SDK. Because here it's suddenly not a module anymore. Is it a module or is it not a module? I am a little concerned that they don't know what the hell they're doing. So this is supposed to be a module. But the thing is, the Express thing here, no, not that, also claims to be a module. In the Express. In the Node Express. Node version. Yeah, we're on the right node version. Just can always be imported via the default SDK. My god, all this extra stuff to make things pretty and configuration in a million different ways. But the important stuff is missing. Package, here we go. Jesus Christ. This, I don't care about types, main. Dist CJS, index.js. Dist CJS, index. Because this is not the distro. Do I need to do my own build of this or something like that? And it's a bit concerning that there's no issue reports on this. Yeah, you're not here to help at all. You're not helping me. This seems to be out of date. And it doesn't have the right syntax. Okay, instead of wasting a lot of time, let's run it as a non-module for now. And then I'll see if I can get in touch with them. But I do not like this. This is already very concerning that they're that... like, I've dealt with projects that were sort of in the middle of transitioning from one type to the other. And years later, I don't know if they've ever managed, right? It's not easy stuff. 3JS, I think, took like half a decade to do that. Alright, well. At least like this, it'll run. Nope. Did I not save this, that it's not a module? Import statement. I don't have an import statement. Oh my god. Didn't delete this one. Alright, here we go. Oh, it's been a while since I've built like a sort of higher end project from scratch. Not just building everything from ground up myself. So, I guess we can bring a lot of this stuff in. Ah, okay, that's what the .env does. It pulls the config from it. You know what? I like that. That seems a proper thing to do. So I'm gonna bring that in as well. And then we're just gonna run that here. Single quote, as is my style. And then here we're just gonna do something like this, because I do not like running things in the root. And then we can move this out into functions. At least it's in a closure, right? Yeah, and then we'll want to do a setup thingy here. Right. Well, I just deleted here. Everyone. Yeah, don't care. No, I didn't want to do that anyways. Don't want to do that. Issuer base has invalid value. Yeah. So let us save this also under our new project here. All right. Okie dokie. And then we'll do something a little bit. Okay, so we'll do some things here. Init server. We'll do this first. Express static public. Don't even have that, right? Port is not even used there. It happens there. So the question is, can the server start before Kind is set up? Maybe. Maybe. We'll do something like that, right? Then we'll do this. And we'll do that. We're gonna skip that. And then we'll do port. I should do const port equals options. Yeah, normally I wrap that into my own simple server thing. But for now, all I want to see is if I can run these out of order, because that's super useful. All right. And then we'll do a similar thing for Kinder, init, Kinder, boom, boom. Something coming from these. These I'm going to put to a list like that. I'm gonna move that into here. And then I'll return that. And we'll do, whoops. We'll do that in the Kinder. And we'll just pass the app in here. I don't think there's any other options to pass in here now, but later on we might. And I think for now we're just gonna do that. Boom. All right. And then we're gonna do this stuff over here. So on the slash, we'll not do that for now. We'll just do res dot what is it? Send. I think it's send, right? Send ABC. Boom. And we'll probably need to shut this down as well. We're running on the same port. So if I go here, ABC, there we go. Right. Second step is we're gonna look at our demo here. And on the root page, where we're rendering index, this pug file, we're linking to login and register. Okay. So we're just gonna do something very simple here. HTML body slash body slash HTML. We're just gonna do that, and we're gonna do one index, and we'll do a graph equals login. We're gonna wrap this in a paragraph for some reason. And what's the other one? Login, register. Right. And we're just gonna add nodemon in here because I run nodemon globally. Nodemon. Boom. And then we can refresh that. We can change that, and it should update. And register. And it redirects to here. What the? What the what? Interesting. So if I press register, it actually redirects to their system? I want to get another look at that. Let's see, if I do this, right? So it actually does a whole bunch of requests. And then we're here. And then eventually it'll go back to the callback. Okay, let's set up the second page as well while we're there to see if that will work, right? So we'll have this admin page. We'll have if res.redirect, and I am trying to train myself to not be so lazy and write these out, so I can use res for result instead of response. All right. Right, and then he'll do some functions, right? Const init routes async, just because this stuff might in the future be async. So we'll make some groups here. Init, do all this. Handle routes. Do that, and then we'll do const handle home handle indexed. Now these might need some arguments and parameters and stuff in the future. This probably will have next and so on. And I might just use my simple server that I've already built for this stuff. Right. Now, let me see. Yeah, we want that. We want a root handler here, but we also want to have a render page like that. Render index. And it's just gonna be like this for now. And it's just gonna be that. And then we're just gonna put that in there, up here. And then here we'll do render index. Else render index, boom. Like that. Now, this should always redirect to admin? Probably not. But for now, this will be fine, right? And then we'll do a render admin. Render admin. Here. Admin. Nothing in it for now. And then here we'll just do redirect to admin. That's fine. And then we'll need here, we'll need to handle, yeah, we'll do handle index on this one. Request response, handle index, yeah. And then we'll do a admin, right? And we'll do an handle admin. Handle index, handle admin. Now, admin, I'm guessing, just does this. So this needs protect root. Where does protect root come from? Okay. So admin is protected and has get user in it. All right. And then here, the root handler doesn't do anything but render admin. So we'll just do render admin. Which of course needs all these guys here. Just the one really. Although in the future we might need request as well, so we might change that. Response, right. And that should take care of things. Now the admin pug file here probably does some stuff with user. So we'll probably want to put this through here. Render admin on. So we probably do want to pass these in here after all, like that. Put them in there now. And then request.user. Request.user. So user will just say JSON.stringify request.user. No. Double space. And we'll just say something like code. Like that. Okay. So if I go back to here, refresh that. Now it doesn't work anymore because I broke it. Okay. Okay, so we need the clients here as well. So what I used to do is I used to just pass in closures. And we're just going to put that here, actually. So we'll execute this. Right? And we'll pass in app and client. Right? And then handle index. We'll do this. Like that. No, not on protect root. Right? And then here there'll be client. Do this. That will give us access to the client. Now the question is, which one here is the async call? I think they both need to be async. I think. Requires a callback to function. Wait, what? No. New error message. Requires a callback to function, but got an object. Root get. Init routes. And the client. Ah, no, we cannot return that here. Yeah. There we go. So now, clear this. If I say login, and I go here, and I say this, all of that stuff is going to be handled by Kinda, I'm guessing. Not sure if I want to show that. Although that's probably... Okay, no, wait, that's probably okay. Yeah, okay. Okay, that just worked. So it manages to redirect and all this stuff. Now, if I go to the root, it always redirects to admin. And if I kill it, and I try to load this, it'll go to index automatically because it's protected. Okay, so we can do something different here then. Right. We can do, if it's authenticated, we can do render index. Like, we can do something like this. Render index sign auth, right? And then we're just gonna be authenticated. And then we want to have a logout, and a link to admin. Just to kind of try a different, slight different flow. But then here we don't want to actually redirect to that. What we want to do is we want to render a different index. And we need to have log out. So kind, that should really be part of the documentation, right? And redirect, protected routes, access to user, sign out. Here we go. Sign in, sign out. How does the best sign up? Sign up. This is implemented in such a way as signing in or registering. The SDK already comes with a logout method. So if I'm signed in, if I do login again, I don't know if I need to register even nowadays. It's just the same process, just like, hey. Index authenticated. Okay. And then if I press logout, we're not signed in anymore. And if I go to /admin, it just redirects. Okay. Now, I don't necessarily want that though. Ah, but it's protected. Okay, so then the question is, if I have something that's protected, such as the admin, I should be able to specify where to go instead. So let's have a look if protect root is something. JWT. Okay, consent library. JW defined in by kin. What is JW? Java Web something. What is JWT? JWT. JSON Web Token. Okay, I knew that once upon a time. Protect endpoint. If you had a verified middleware to an endpoint, will validate the token. If valid, the user can ID is able to request, otherwise forthwith is thrown. It doesn't say anything about redirecting though. Verifier. If you add a verified middleware to an endpoint, it will validate the token. Okay, API reference. Effect. Set up Kinder. That's what we're calling in here, right? Yeah. Set up your app. Set up your. This is not like this is not documentation, right? This is simple examples. Documentation exhaustively lists everything the thing does and all the options that can go in and out. That's documentation. Everything else is just a list of minor examples because it doesn't anything. Register the first user by signing up yourself. You'll see a newly registered user. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Callbacks and log out URLs. An example of a common, yeah. So we have a logout redirect. Logout redirect. Ah, so that's currently going there. So if I say logged out here, right. So let's add a route for that. Logged out. Allowed callback. Oh, we'll see. So logged out. Logged out. Render. Logged out. And I think that's actually just a plain render. We don't need to logged out. And then we can just do a couple things and go log in. Log in. Index. Right. Let's make these shorter. They're really just placeholders. So handle logged out has already been declared. Handle logged out. Render or logged out. Okay, so then the logout should send us there. That's fine. Now, what this doesn't do, it doesn't persist over reboots. So we kind of want to look into that. The API, create with your app. Authentication access, customize properties. User management. So we'll do kind persist tokens on server reboot. To be honest, we might not need that. That might not be a common thing that's done. Like, it's okay if the server restarts. Although, if I want to update the server software, I don't want to have everybody lose their stuff, right? It could also be that the authentication itself would be managed by a microservice, running separately from the web server. In the persist token based authentication time, how to refresh token lost server restart. Yeah, that's an issue. I got this problem in the test stage of my application. Clients had duration data token a very long time, and here's so we wouldn't request new token often during tests. But after a while, it came out that tokens already expired after random time. The problem was server application being restarted and updated, resulting in in-memory token loss and rendering simple checks for expires in not working. How would I secure such a scenario? It might be, well, happen on production, hopefully more rarely. Don't have access to server-side authorization settings. Could calling some dummy action on server to check if it returns for one for every action. A validate token to decide whether the token could access. Suggest just send the token when performing token requests. Server side will check and claim the expired time. Provide will return for one such can the error token. Yeah, okay. That doesn't actually answer any of that. Okay. Do we have something in here? Flutter, persist, P, TypeScript, auth, React, relation. These are all front-end stuff. Generator, Node.js. Okay. Node.js might also be interesting. Since I have services that do not use Express. But then porting them to Express might actually be a better option. I mean, I can look at the source of it. I'm not super keen on that. And of course, it's a bad sign for their documentation that I'd even consider that. Is this still using Express anyways? Where does app come from? It doesn't even mention it. This seems a bit strange. I guess all it does do, the only thing it doesn't do is it's integrating middleware into the requests and stuff. Yeah, this was weird because this is a lot more extensive than the Express SDK. That seems so strange. And the JavaScript would be client-side. So I guess we could do it client-side as well, which would be quite interesting. That we could do it serverlessly. If you haven't already got an account, read it for free, no problem. So we could authenticate from the web app, and we never need to authenticate through the server. Now, obviously, that wouldn't help with any cloud syncing and stuff like that. But that's an interesting concept. Well, we still need server-side support, right? Otherwise, it's just the server doesn't do the... Well, even this was technically client-side, right? The client did the redirect, the client did all the things. All right, let's have a quick dig into the source code we go. So if I'm looking at this... Type helpers auth... man. Set up auth router. So this doesn't really do the routing, the authentication, right? This is just a wrapper for the next level of dependency, which is going to be the actual authentication system, which is going to be one of these node auth utils, probably in the node auth utils, or is this just helper functions? Big prettier plugin node resolve plugin JSON plugin common JS. I mean, the other consideration is like, is this enough for the MVP? And that probably is true, right? Especially when we're saying, hey, this is a beta, closed release, and that sort of thing. Then we don't necessarily need to, like, the things that don't work just don't work, right? We don't necessarily have to consider them all. Baron Burnett sent me a friend request on. Okay, he's in the city Caesar. I have to be super cautious because I get a lot of spam on these places. So one whiff of spam or impropriety, and you're out of there. Alright, what it doesn't tell me is about persistence. So let's see what else we can find here. Deliverable tools. Using Kindi without an SK. Using OAuth scope, calling an API just example, arranges web tokens, refresh tokens, protect your API, add connected apps. Apps, good have connected apps. Start webhooks, add manage webhooks, manage worker services, patient error code, patient access. User communication in Kindi, manage the authentication experience. Email deliverable ability in Kindi about email authentication. Phone authentication, oh my god, social login, yada yada yada. We want to see about persisting. Pop user sign in, redirect user, mention the multiple locations. That good something. Offline tokens. If you include an offline scope in your request, you can make long-running sessions where you have refresh tokens. This works both in backends, apps, and web apps. Short-lived refresh and refresh token rotation for security browser-based and mobile apps. In this case, on page reload, they just will resume the session with the refresh token exchange. Yeah, okay. Thing is, how much traffic is there between my system and Kindi, and how tied into their system am I? That's also a concern. I mean, in the end, it's all OAuth. They're just wrapping it all up, right? Management, customer, property, is it here? Clients. I mean, there's not much they can do, right? They can secure their stuff, but being compliant with data collection is up to me. Add manage properties tokens, manage property categories. Properties, no. Design, sign page, and brand experience. Customize email request page, set up subscription form, apply unique branding form, move Kindi branding from sign in pages and language certification. That is probably also interesting. But yeah, that'll cost money. Manage users across organization, manage user permissions, manage user roles. Import users in bulk. Require users to accept policies at sign in. I hope I can dodge all of these on the MVP release. Feature flags, manage feature flags, alright, manage feature flag, access, verify user verification, methods. That's one. I mean, I'm trying to stick to the social authentication as much as possible, especially for the MVP. Node.js app router. Node.js SDK. What does this do? Overriding scope, user permission, getting flags, management. What does that do? New API client. Because it's possible that the tokens aren't being held on my system, but I think it should be. That's the thing, right? I don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes, right? I'm looking at this Express SDK, but internally that just links to the next one and the next one, next one. I don't know what the actual lowest level thing is, right? So I might have to try to kind of do the low level thing, like the Node.js SDK, just so I could get a better idea of where the bottom of the barrel is, right? Let's have a look at the Node.js SDK. Node.js. Where is it? Java. Thank you. Node Express. That's the one we're using. Kindi Node. But there's also the Node.js. For example, what's the difference between Kindi Node and Node.js Node for verifying Kindi bearer tokens? And what's this? Kindi SDK for Node.js. Node.js, I think that's the one I've just been looking at, right? That's JavaScript and that's Node.js. Okay. So, what I care about is how does it hold on to these tokens? Is it in here somewhere? Is this just some array of user data, right? Get claims, request ID token. We go here. Session ID. Get session ID. Oh my god, that's far in there. Session ID, crypto. Okay, no, that's not what we wanted. Get claims, use session ID. Just generates one. Session store. Ah. Session store. From index. Okay. Session store. What do we use as the session store? Can we configure this? That would be nice. If not, can we replace it? Session store. SDK store. Can I go here? File. Right, SDK store. Session store. That's the only store that's available. So if I do something like kinder session store persistent. Great. It really doesn't like the word kinder in there. Can I search here? This page refresh or new app, persisting application state. Is that it? Option argument passed into login register methods accepts app state key, where you can pass in the current application state prior to redirecting to Kinder. This is then returned to you in the second argument. That's not what I meant. Token storage in the authentication state. By default, data run by Kinder stored in memory. This protects you from CSRF attacks. Possibly stored as a client-side cookie and XSS attack. Also with persistent local storage. The trade-off with this approach, however, is that the page is refreshed or new tabs opened, then the token is wiped from memory, and the sign-in button would need to be clicked to re-authenticate. Okay. The sign-in button will be use the Kinder custom domain feature. When can set a secure HTTP-only cookie against your domain containing only the refresh token, which is not vulnerable to this RF attack. Okay. Secure HTTP only. Okay. There's an escape hatch, which can be used for local development. Is dangerously used local storage. This should not be used in production. Recommend the use of a custom domain. Will store only the refresh token in local storage and is used to silently re-authenticate. Okay. That is not what I'm thinking about, though. We're talking about session store. Session store. Use any sessions between session stores. Session store. Persistent authentication on page refresh or new tab. Token storage. Once this user successful, you have a GAV tools. So the thing is, I think we're talking about client-side token storage, not server-side. Okay, so then the question becomes, in the Node Express, what do we get access to from here? If I do object, if I do log, like if I just log that out, what do we get? Management API protection. So that's the other problem with not having real documentation. Maybe there's a simple configuration, but I haven't found yet a list of configuration options, right? So you can view Express.js docs. Okay, is that more? These aren't docs. Here it's just linking back. So that's stupid. It's just What the frick? Okay. Yeah. This is not documentation. I don't know what all the config options are. Oh. So setup Kinder. Where does that come from? It's this config, setup config. Okay, so it's typed. That's something. So we go into setup. Setup Kinder setup types. All right. Extends grant type. Do we have setup config? PKCG session config. Common setup config params. Extends grant type. Grant type comes out of here. Okay. Let's see if it says anything about session storage types here. No. So these are all extensions on each other. And we'll probably want to look at Kinder TypeScript SDK. All right, so next step, Kinder TypeScript SDK. Kinder TypeScript SDK. I'm just gonna poke in here. Session managers. X. Okay, well, that's not useful. Get session item. Okay. Because, like, can I add my own session manager? Now, the thing is, we were looking at types. Which, you know, TypeScript types make sense, right? The thing is, it's... Where is it? It's looking for grant type that comes out of the TypeScript. Now, this is just outputting everything. So let's keep these over here for just a second. Now, it could be part of these. All right, grant type. Here we go. Authenticators, client credentials. Okay. What is the argument was called what? Session. No, there's no argument for that. Oh, yeah, wait. We can look at it from the other direction, right? We can say, if we go back in here, we can work our way backwards, right? So we say, setup, session manager. Is that where the session store is being used? Session option, express. Ah, is it using fresh session item, session express session. Maybe that's what we need to look at. Express session, create a session middleware with given options. Session data is not saved in the cookie itself, but the session ID. Session data is stored server side. What it doesn't tell me is, can we access this inside from Express? Like, if I could just look at it, what's in there, right? Express, use session. Where does that session function come from? Use session sesh. I love this. Like, use this function that doesn't exist. We're not going to tell you where it comes from. Oh, here we go. All right, express session. The thing is, that session is getting created not in our code. It's getting created in here somewhere, right? Session config. Okay, where does session config come from? Session config. Get session express middleware. Session item request.session. All right, session config. Session option save, uninitialized true, cookie, resave false. If I want to do express session persistent, I mean, there's probably a security issue with having them survive server reboots. By basically just sticking them on the thing. Mongo store session. Mongo store session. Fire the package. Connect Mongo. Now configure the session. So we should be able to set that up. So if I do kinde express session Mongo. Best load Mongo session ID. The thing is, I'm still not entirely certain if session is the thing that gets lost. Or if there's something else, right? That's useless. Okay. Is this the only thing we care about? I'd like to know what happens when we're hitting protect route, basically. So let's look at protect route and see where it gets its data from. If I go down to here, and I search protect route, go here, right? Request response, can decline, get internal client. Is authenticated request. So is authenticated is actually ultimately the thing that does the thing. I mean, I've done the stuff from scratch myself before. In the client, where does that come from? In the client. In the client. Oh man, I hate that word. It's such an awkward word to say. In the client. Kinde client. Internal client, create Kinde server client. Is authenticate Kinde client. Get internal client. Get internal config. Internal client. Lots of internal client. But there's no external client. I need the external client. Kinde client. Wait, one sec. Init Kinde. Is authenticated. Is authenticated client. So, okay, so init Kinde returns that. So it's not Kinde client. I just call it Kinde client. Init Kinde. Init. Sorry, setup Kinde. All right. Here we go. Setup Kinde. Return get. So it is internal client. All right. So we gotta go to setup. Kinde client. Here we go. That's the right thing. And get internal client or setup internal client that creates the thing. And this should have a function called is authenticated. Yeah, right. So client type. Initial internal client, create Kinde server client, which here, which create Kinde server client. I go there. Create Kinde TypeScript SDK. Okay, so we have the Kinde TypeScript SDK. Now we can search there. Go here. Create auth code. Grant PCK, client credentials, authentication code. I don't know which grant type we're using. It's just passing it straight through from, god damn it, from the, all right, so initial config grant type as G. I don't understand TypeScript syntax. Okay. Auth code client, CCC client. Auth, create auth code client with dot authentication authorization code. Create authorization code client. Down the rabbit hole we go. And somewhere here, oh, look at that, session manager. But that's just type. Session here. Now here they're getting passed in. Where are they getting created? Create authentication. Create authorization URL session. Sure. I still don't know where that function is. Is authorized, right? What was it called? Is authenticated. Sorry. Is authenticated. Can we do a little lookup for this? Is that going to help us something, or is it just going to send us to something else? Return more is authenticated. We're passing request in here. Is request here? Is everything just sitting right there on request? Is because that's how freaking Express does it. So if I do this and refresh that, session store. There we go. Look at that. Events, maximum session standard. Now, the problem is, I don't know if we can change that after the fact. Except maybe we can. Because what we saw earlier with the Mongo thingamajig, somewhere here. See compatible session stores. So in theory, we might be able to just store that onto a file. Can I just put this onto a file? Session store, memory store, MySQL, NEDB session store. That would be great because that's just a station file, JSON file on the drive. Looks like it's connect compatible session. Wait, what? Use session. Express session. Is Express session the same thing as the session store here? I'm not sure. I am not sure. We'll look at app. Can we find it here? Session. Be a bit annoying that it won't be accessible until we make a request. Anything with a SSS session? Should I sort it? Is that gonna be easier? Search settings, source set, route. Access dash store middleware in Express. I don't have a reference to it. I'm probably not the only one who's been looking for that. And stack roots. Now the session management in the root handler works fine. I can set session to use and it will persist. Over the middleware function print session always prints undefined. Print session. Print session. Static. Express dot session. So express session. Express dot sesh. I do this. Express. The session doesn't exist here yet. Express.session. Okay, that's like an old syntax, I think. So, can we access the middleware in here somewhere? And it probably might not exist yet until I put that here. Access session middleware in app object. Auth session. How do I get session from? No, how do I access the session object? Express. Okay, so Express.js, how to configure session middleware. Because I'm not creating it. How to configure session middleware. Added elsewhere. All right, forget this for a sec. Can we really change the configuration after the fact? It seems very unlikely. Like here, I don't. It's implemented like this. The problem is the session middleware is already added elsewhere somewhere. Let's search Express session. Is that what we're using? Express session data. Session, Express session data, session, here. Okay. I'll see that. Session manager. Where's that done? Set up kin session. Why would a request extend the session manager? Data. So sorry, I haven't really been saying what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to see if I can manipulate the session configuration without having to kind of hack their code, right? If the session system can be changed how it stores stuff after the fact, i.e. after being initialized elsewhere, if I can get access to it, maybe I can change it then. That's one way of thinking about it. The other way of thinking about it is, can I inject my own session, express session thing into Kinde, right? Now, for example, session data here, but this is all just type jerking off, right? They're just passing things around and defining types. They're not actually, yeah, like they're just importing types. They're not actually instantiating anything. And that's the problem with TypeScript. It's very hard to find the code that actually does stuff. Because there's so much code that doesn't do anything, right? It just says how things might be done if they are actually done. All right, I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break because I feel my brain isn't working correctly, and then we're gonna wrap this up in some kind of fashion to project usefulness going forward. Anyway, I'll be right back. Oh, do that. Let's get back into that key. Here. Oh, no. Nobody wants to see me full screen. Okay, so I had a quick think about stuff, and the truth of it is the user interface isn't going to live in this system. It's going to live on the main site, and ideally I'm going to run it through all through the SudokuPad.app domain, and just internally I'm going to run it as a separate service. So the idea that this system is really just going to be a JSON API that's going to be used internally by the SudokuPad server. Communicate and see what we can do, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to reduce the number of pages as much as possible, and I'm going to use each page to just write a quick to-do list what that page does, and ultimately with the understanding that the data that's being held is just going to get pushed out as JSON data as part of an API, right? So, for example, we shouldn't really need an admin page at all. It should just go away because we're just going to yeah, and I'm just checking if admin is actually used in the configuration. It is not, right? So instead of admin, we're just gonna... The thing is, I guess it's kind of making this easier. Because I'm just thinking, like, we have client is authenticated here, which is basically the same thing as doing protected root checks, right? And while I'm saying that, I might as well verify that that is true. If I put protected root in here, and hopefully it's not just more TypeScript masturbation. If it's authenticated, so it does the authentication check, but what else does it do? So if we're not, it does a redirect. That's extra. It does status sending. And then it does all of this. Issue a base URL. Get in the client get token, auth token, parse token, PEM callback. Now, if not is authenticated. So that means we're getting here when we're already authenticated. That's so weird. Yeah, get into client. Yeah, so they do that instead of what I'm doing here. Fair. So let's see if we are logged in. Okay, let's see if we can recreate this function, right? Get initial config. Like, why would we need all of this? Get in the client, get token, request, issuer based URL. I don't even know what they mean by that. Issuer based. Okay, that's basically just my subdomain configured with like svencodes.kinder.com, right? In the client get token, and then auth token, issuer based get PEM, auth token. Auth utils comes from the new blah blah blah. Okay. So maybe we need to bring that into our code. The problem is this compatible? If I do this, const auth utils equals require, and that's the problem. If one does one thing and the other does another, it seems like a terrible idea. Okay. So do we need to do this? If default like that. Is that gonna give us access to these two functions? Okay. That's a good start. So, if client is authenticated, it does what exactly? Do I need to go back, find my spot again? Yes, I think so. Did I? Hmm? Hmm? What was I looking at before? Or is this the place? I think it's the place. User protect root. Yeah, okay. So we did this before. We called protect root before to basically make this automatic. Now let's see if we can do it manual. That's how you know if you actually understand something, right? Get initial config is like a local function? No. So that comes out of setup. Dot slash setup slash index. Then it should get internal client, get initial setup internal client, export. What? We're looking for get initial config, which gets imported from there, and ultimately comes from here, I believe. Initial config as setup in return initial config. Initial, where's initial? Fine. Initial config, setup config, initial config. Where does this come from? We need to assign this somewhere. So I'm guessing it goes all the way to my original objects. I have access to this in theory. Is it on the client though? What about client? I look at the keys of the client. We're here. So get, there's no get initial config. Get organization handler, get claim, get token, get user profile, register logout, refresh token. And in get initial config, does that do any kind of internal access? Magic with scoping? Probably. So we might have to track the config ourselves. Let's do something like this. Const client equals client dot initial config. If I do this and then refresh that, refresh. Oh, we now have initial config here, which we don't want to output. We can say client dot config. Here we go. Get permissions. Issuer base URL. Okay. And that get PM, and this is just client, and that should be request. Parsed token PM callback FN. And then the callback is this. Callback. Auth token comes from, yeah, so, man, it's what a mix of stuff, right? If error, else next. So we can do await new promise, resolve, reject, right? Do we execute this? No. And this goes inside, right? And then we'll have this. And then we'll just say if error, reject error. And we can just probably just do this. Error, reject error, else solve. And that's it. Now, that gets us this part. All we need is the client and all this other stuff. Right. Well, But what exactly does this do? Because at this point, I don't see the user information getting filled in just yet. I think that's what get user does. Right. So this is really just our own protect route. Now, there's two steps to this, because this is the check if the user's already authenticated. And they're not entirely... This is probably where the session store comes in. The thing is, if the user is authenticated, we still need to do all of this. And I don't understand why exactly. It means that is authenticated is not reliable. It's authenticated. So Kindle-client. So where does the Kindle-client come from? The client, get internal client, /setup, setup Kindle-client, get internal client, from /client. Okay, I'm starting to kind of find my way around it. It still seems a little scattered. Get internal client, internal client. And it's the same thing as with the config. It's just, okay, it gets created here. And then this function gets imported from here. In the TypeScript SDK, and I think that's over here. In the TypeScript SDK. And it comes from, wait, create terms, in the TypeScript SDK. So we should be able to go all the way down to index here. If that exists, if that's a thing. Let's have a quick peek in here. Main, just CJS. Wait. So it depends on being built first. That's sad. Can we find it here? We are looking for this function. Can we find this function in here? Anywhere? No. That's not the function. Why am I? That's the function. All right. What do we have here? Create from the client. Current create. Okay, so we have one of these from authorization code. Here we go. What was it called? Create client, create something client, create authorization code client. Is PCK authentication code, options, client secret authentication. Okay. So many different constructors and things. And I guess they're all implementing the same interfaces and whatnot. Login. Client, login, register. Wait, where does this login log out? They're all being passed down like this. Oh, and that's the client? Is that how it's typed? Really? It's just a collection of functions. And there's it's authenticated, right? Sitting right there. Okay, so it literally just checks. Oh, wait. Wait, what? What's this client now? Wait a second. We have a client object on this client thing. Is authenticated. Is this Kinder client in here somewhere? Client.is authenticated. Wait, what? What's it complaining about? We're missing one brace. Does that tell us anything? Function is authenticated. It doesn't give us any reference to this thing. Client is authenticated. Where does this client come from? So 1 second. We're doing this get internal client, which does the create internal client. In the client is authenticated, log out. So we had this. So we go setup. And which one? Just setup. So index, right. And then this one had get internal client from Kinder client. Right, and then get internal client. And I'm realizing the text. Hey, Shelby, good morning. Realizing the text is probably small for you, but there's so much of it. I need the space. Let's just minify these. We don't need get internal client. We might need this one. Get internal client. Internal client. We've done that earlier. Where it's being assigned here. Create Kinder server client. So do we never have access to the internal one after all? No, but create client is what we... God damn it. Client option. I'm so confused because create internal client... Alright, I gotta make this a bit smaller, otherwise I can't see anything. Create internal... Am I looking at this now twice? Create authentication code client. Ultimately, we have this. Then create in the server client. Comes out of the TypeScript SDK. Yep. Index. Session manager clients. Yeah, clients. Index. Browser server, whatever. Server. Index. Create auth code client. Sure. Create auth return. So that's a straight up return. Create Kindle server client. So that's a straight up return from create authorization code client. Fine. Now, the thing is, this creates a bunch of things. Oh no, client isn't even exposed here. We have this client object that the other things use. But it doesn't look like it's ever getting exposed. Are they building this securely in their own little ways? Oot. Yeah, and then all these functions are just wrappers for it. But we can pass in the session manager. Now I'm trying to remember why I was looking into this. Client that is authenticated. Ultimately, the client is one of these guys. Both flow. Oh my god. Okay. I'll look at this one. Lib decay auth 2 flows. And what was it called? Authorization code. So I'm guessing it's this guy. And that's how we're instantiating this internal client. My god, there's like, for every line of code that does a thing, there's 10 lines of code of just forwarding that thing elsewhere. I guess that's what well-structured code looks like. Authorization, you're out, project. Because here, the reason I'm looking into this, because here is authorized, or is authenticated, forwards to client is authenticated, which means this should have an is authenticated function. Except it doesn't, which means it loads it in from somewhere else. Auth code abstract is get token. Turn true false. So ultimately, this simply says it exists. But then it kind of internally checks that. So we don't actually want to do that. Long story short, we kind of want to do this. The problem is now I'd have to dig into these functions to figure out exactly what they do. Okay, let us wrap this stuff into a function so we don't go insane trying to use it. Auth function. What do we call it? Check is authenticated. I think client, and I don't think we need the other stuff right now. We might need it down the line. And we can kind of do this. Right. And then we can do all of this. Right. Now, if we're doing a way to reject, we basically just want to wrap that in a try, right? If we do if not, turn false. Right? And then we'll do a try catch. And then we'll just run it and try it, and that'll be the stream, I think. Log auth error turn false. And then here. Ooh. Now, yeah, this doesn't return anything anyways, right? And now instead of doing all of this, we're just gonna render index. That's fine. But we're gonna run our own little thing. Let res equals await. Check is authenticated. Boom. Client. Log res. So now we're just gonna check if res changes from true to false after we log in. And I think that's all we need to do. So if I now refresh this page, request is not defined. Ah, we do need the request. Do we need the request? Maybe we do need the request. Probably not, because we could just do the whole thing, right? But this is just a quick check. If that's true, we definitely don't need to do the whole thing. All right, so we'll do that. We'll go through the login sequence here. And I should call it the authentication process. Now we're back, and now res is true. If I refresh this, it's true. And if I go to admin, protected should come back as true as well. And if I go to log out, slash log out, and now res is false. So log out is handled automatically. Is that true? Render. We have logged out. But it looks like logout is managed internally. Again. I wish this was a little faster, but I guess it is what it is. We go admin. Okay, that we have the log. Where's the log out? Did I not put a logout link? index auth. Oh, because I'm not using that now. Okay. So log out is just pre-made. In the same way as signing in and registering, the Kindia already comes with logout method. Okay, so we don't actually handle that ourselves. All right, so let us put a little bit of text on this page. Kind of remind ourselves of what we're trying to do here. So, I'm gonna do this, and then I'm going to do this, and this, and we're gonna write, so, we're gonna make an H2, and we're just gonna call it API, and then we'll have, login, log out, get user data. You can just say log in, get user data, or authenticated, get user data, change user data. And basically when we talk about user data, I'm trying to think. So we want to store obviously puzzle progress. Besides, you know, little pings, hey, counter update and so on and so forth, right? And though there's definitely a bunch of unauthenticated stuff, and we might want to run it through here. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 subsections here. I'm going to do authenticated, and I'm going to do not authenticated. So authenticated would be logout, etc., right? So authenticated, no login, we'll have get user data, change user data. That's authenticated. Not authenticated will have the login, but it will also have things like update counter, right? Like puzzle. Now, I think we actually want those under authenticated as well, and we probably want to mark them separately. So in other words, when you're authenticated, you can only like one puzzle. You can like a puzzle once, right? When you're not authenticated, we just have an anonymous counter going up. And we might want to separate the counts. So in the future, maybe one day, some of these features will become authenticated only features. I foresee that being a need. And similar for puzzles, like posting puzzles and things like that. If you're authenticated, the puzzle gets associated with you. So to own a puzzle, and that might be a way of kind of encouraging people to sign up to own a puzzle. We don't want to tie too many things into it, though, for the MVP. So these probably we don't want to have here for now. And we probably want to write that here. It's going to be shorter. All right, I think it's time for me to take a lunch break. But I'm finally happy with both getting a better idea of how it's going to work, having a technically functional demo of basic authentication already, which is great. The step after that will be kind of more about functionality and user interface and things like that, and figuring out exactly what the kind of the individual requirements are. So client integration, like these are sort of the higher end stuff, but like we want specific things like, hey, I mean, for example, right now we don't push progress to the server, but once we have user accounts, we actually want to do that, right? One thing I don't like is that I need to re-sign in every time the user, the server reloads, because while I'm developing, the server will restart a ton. So I probably want to split the authentication service internally, right? As a microservice. So we'll say auth microservice few changes / restarts, and then user data microservice many restarts and no auth data. So we can kind of separate the two aspects, right? So that the service that actually handles the user data doesn't do authentication. And actually, you know, let's see if we can put that together super quick. The thing about it is, okay, so then this service would be super crazy, skinny, thin, minimalist, right? Ow, my knee. So if I know Sudoku accounts. So if we have server here, so if I say touch auth.js, right? Oh, we're in Windows land. Right. So we kind of want to move most of this stuff into auth server. And then this is not gonna do any of this crazy stuff here, right? Don't need to do that. We're gonna make this minimalist. I'll remove all of this for now. We actually gonna rewrite that. In fact, we might need to write our own middleware then. Do this for a sec here. I put it all in here, yeah. Don't need that. Don't need that. Right? So we have Kinda here. And then we'll configure this a little bit differently. Then we'll change that. Go under auth server. And then we'll have. Let me just run both as one task. Like if I do this. Right? And if I go here, server, error, double quoted property name in JSON, edition 184. Why does it always need me to scroll down? Client is not defined. Server, client, init routes. Yeah, so there's no client here. None of that. We'll do this. We'll probably need something like that in the future. Boom. And then this one, Express. I think on port 30. So that's not happening. Init routes. That. And no. I've done stuff like this before. So don't tell me I can't do this. You know what? Screw it. Wasting time. Boom. Off. Start. So this is off. Start. And one of these is not like the other. Alright, so npm run auth. All right, and here we go, npm run or npm start. Boom. So that's 3,000. That's 3,100. And now the point is, if we go here, right? I actually, most of the stuff is gonna be living on this side, so we kind of bring this over here. This, boom, boom. I press just a little bit. This, and if I press login, we'll do this, right. So one of the issues is we actually need to do the login over on the internal setup. Let me think. Can we proxy it? Because it's still configured for the external thing, right? Can we not proxy it internally? I think we need to proxy it, right? Because we need to pass through all the headers and all that stuff. Let me think. What is the easiest way of doing this? If we proxy it, are we gonna put ourselves in a mess where we have to proxy a whole ton of stuff? If we don't proxy it, are we gonna put us in a mess where we have to micromanage all the little details? You know, pull them out of the sessions, pull them out of everything, pass them through. I've done the proxy thing with the analytics integration. So let's have a quick look how that looks. So the plausible here, we're basically doing this. Let me see, express proxy. Is that something that's complex to set up? Is what I'm wondering. Here. Yeah, let's try it. Let's try it. Let's get rid of that. If I do this. And I run that here. I'll go in. Don't know if we need to do it before the express system. Can we proxy internally? If I do app use login proxy HTTP localhost 3001 login. Why do this? How's that gonna look? How's that gonna feel? Let's close that. We have these two. I don't know why this is unnecessary, but okay. Let's move that all the way to the outside here. Okay. So we do that. Login. Okay. So that'll hit the login over here. Nope. That'll hit the login page. Does it though? No, it's hitting index. Why is it not hitting login? Or is it like this? misunderstanding how the proxy works? We'll just give it a domain? Like that? Let us have a quick look. If I do handle index, then I'll do request.url. I'll do this. It's coming through as root. Proxy request a pipe stream chunk by default. Proxy reject promise login proxy /login. No, it's not passing the path through. Reject promise proxy host. The first option is the proxy host. In many cases, you will use a static string here. How the target will be a function, and that function can be memorized and computed on each request. Memoized, alright. Like proxy host. Middleware mixing. Proxy path request path resolver. Provide a proxy request path resolve function if you'd like to operate on the path before issuing the proxy request. Alright, so that's a host name. Let's just pass in these other things. Just see. Alright, this might be a bit of a deeper rabbit hole than I had anticipated. Requires a middleware function but got an object. Wait, requires a middleware function. Oh, because this is part of this. Not that. That. Boom. Okay. Host, yada yada yada. Oh, yeah, that gets us the request. And then resolve timeout resolved path value. So if I just return /login, is that gonna do the trick? Cannot get into callback. We shouldn't have gotten all the way to here already. How did it pass through all the other stuff? Oh, it's still restarting that. Okay, you know what? Let's stop that from restarting. We'll just do that. Now, this won't restart. Okay. So that sends us to login, but login should be a redirect, shouldn't it? So if I go back to here, refresh, and I click on login, going straight to Kinder callback. Is it because we're still signed in somehow? And how did I deal with Kinder callback before? I didn't. It was doing it internally. Okay. Now, besides the request path resolver, is there a better way of doing that? How can I give it a path? La 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 la. Fine. Cannot be changed with this method. Use path resolver instead. Can override most request options. We will request the options. For path spacing have been deprecated. Path resolver option. It's again, this is not documentation. It's just a set of examples. Here are examples of how to use various options, but not what the options mean and what the options are. Reserve host Yes, true. Proxy record request. Yes, parse request body. Parsing allows you to control parsing and restore. Disabling body parsing is useful for large uploads when you do reinforce all the data in memory. Request as buffer. Body encoding, trace debugging, proxy. Either simple update the name, either forward path. Forward path. Deprecated. The proxy path resolver. Yeah, the path is considered a portion of the URL after the host. All query parameters. You provide if you like to operate on the path before issuing the proxy request. The thing is, I don't really need to, except it strips it, which is so strange. But it seems I can just do this. And that should do the trick. And then I guess we'll do the same thing. How about proxy root equals app root. And then we'll just do that, right? Fair. Boom. And then this will be root. Root in equals root out. And here we can just do proxy root app / login. Boom. And then we can do, what's the other one? The callback. Yeah, comma, no, full stop. Hey, Brimster. Roxy from Chicago. Man, sometimes I wish people in chat could just join in audio very easily. Because I want to hear that now. I'm not sure the song. I'll probably recognize it. I'm not familiar with the name. But I want to hear you sing it. That is for sure. Okay, so now it's supposedly proxying this. Except apparently it's not. It should. Okay, if I click in this. Okay, what about if we do this and then we'll just do something more log proxying route. And we'll do something like that just to see if it's actually happening. I don't know if it's happening. Okay, both of them are happening. The weird thing is, I don't think that's how it should go. Because unless it's remembering how I'm logged in. But that was exactly the problem I had before, that it wasn't doing that. Okay, so here I'm definitely not logged in. Ah, okay. Well, yeah, I'm not logged in there. So this is already working. What the hell? That's all I needed. Log out. Put that underneath. Log out. I'm just gonna already bugging me. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do log in. The callback, log out. It's gonna be an array. That dot like for const route off. Boom. that. Brown. Boom. So, now we don't have a login check yet, obviously. Yeah, that'll be a bit trickier. Oh no, this. Then just have a log out. And that's really the important thing. It's like, okay. Now register, I think also needs to pass through. I think. Register. So if I do this, click on register. Okay. Log in. Yes. Okay, so we are logged out. So the tricky bit is to how to check if we are logged in through the proxy / API, whatever, because I'm not entirely certain what is the session data it is looking at. Let's see. Can I just peek into this? Session storage. Ah, we're not logged in right now. Okay, so let's log in. And I'm still not entirely certain how it does it through this separate subdomain. Okay, so now we're logged in. We have no local storage though. No session storage. And yet, somehow, we don't have a cookie either. How the hell? How are we logged in? Ah! How were we logged in? So that's the only thing we need? So... let us do something. Check off. Go off. Boom. Check off. So we need to look at the cookies. Express cookie. Can we just proxy that as well? Express.js, how can I set the cookies? Express.js. Parser. I don't want to parse the cookies. I just want to pass them through. So let's see. If we do this. Oh, profile to change settings, but this is after it's working. Yeah, very, very far down the line. No, this is the, so initially, I'm gonna go maximum, because there's no point changing a profile if you're not doing anything with the profile, right? Why do the work of letting people change a profile picture when there's nowhere for a profile picture to show? So initially, I'm gonna go the highest sort of important thing. So cloud saves. So basically sharing, if you're logged in on different browsers, you can share your progress and you can save your progress to the server. Solve history. So you're not just relying on, well, right now the app is the only thing where the history is held. But we kind of want to do that for the thing as well. And then maybe not part of the MVP, minimum viable product, but it's obviously like puzzle authorship. So if you upload a puzzle while you're logged in, that puzzle gets associated with your account, right? Yeah. So and what I want to do is like, because for me it's very hard. Like my problem is I'm a perfectionist, so I'm constantly struggling to do imperfect things. If those perfect things take forever, literally forever, like they're never finished, right? So the idea is, I want to design something now to be shared as a sort of closed beta with an invite-only small group of people like you, like Ranks, like the people I know, right? To start getting feedback, to provide sort of high-end services, you know, such as puzzle authorship and so on and so forth. And then kind of using that as a way of building the core systems, building authentications, database, and so on. And then kind of taking it from there. And it's like taking that feedback in before kind of slowly opening it up to a larger and larger number of people. Yeah, I mean, I don't even want to store passwords. There won't be any passwords in here. This will be all just you log in with an existing account from another system. I don't, that's something, you know, if I have lots of spare money and spare time, I might do it down the line, but likely I'll never do that myself. I'll, you know, I'll push it so far down the line until I can afford somebody else to do it. Yeah. I don't want to deal with security stuff. It's too risky. In fact, that's why I'm dealing with a third-party authentication service here. All right, so... Oh, yeah. Okay, so check off. Boom. And we need to look at this page. Okay. So, the question is, where are the cookies hiding? Will they be on something as innocuous as _cookie? Maybe. I don't want to parse the cookies. I just want to see where they are and then hand them over. Raw headers. They are in the raw headers. Okay. Are there any headers? Request dot headers. Raw headers. Right, so we have raw headers. Do we have headers dot cookie maybe? Okay. So express request cookie. How can I set a cookie? No. I'm never gonna find something useful there. Search, googling for this stuff. What version of Express am I dealing with here? 4. Why not 5? Is 5 a thing? No, it's still early beta. I think Express 5 has been in early beta for as long as I've been alive, probably. Like, is Express 5 ever gonna go live? Express 5. Yeah. It is 2024 and we still don't have Express 5. At this point, I think Grand Theft Auto 6 will come out before Express 5. Yeah. Oh no. Alright, I'm just wasting time here. Request. I think Express doesn't really handle secondary requests, right? So, node fetch cookies. Can I pass in cookies with node fetch? Login response to cube. Alright. I don't know if I still need node fetch or if I can just do fetch. Fetch. If I do this. Build parse URL from flash. Let res equals wait fetch HTTP host 301. Check off. If I do this, I do get a response. And it's a 404. Okay, that's a good sign. That's a good sign. So now we have to implement a check auth route for now. So we'll do a check auth like that. And it's gonna be something like that. Oop. Check auth. And it's just gonna be request. Nope. Response.send. Done. Right, something like that. Right. And how do we restart this? Like that. And we'll check off. And here. Okay. So, can we do the whole this thing? So if I do this, right? Do this. And then here, this needs to be restarted as well. Oh my god, this is gonna get a little bit annoying before it gets better. So, response, false. Now, if we do a login, and now to check off, response is still false. God damn it. So that doesn't work at all. Unless we're doing something wrong here. So for example, is authenticated. What's the result to that? Ah, but we're not passing the cookie through. I think we're not actually doing that yet. Yeah. Okay. We're not actually passing the cookie through, so that's probably the missing ingredient. So if we do something like this, headers, and I just looked at it a second ago, and I'll do something like that. Cookie. We'll just do that. They're gonna do the trick. Okay. Log in again. And while we're here, take advantage of the fact that I can just refresh this. Check off. Boom, boom, boom. Boom. Because gotta check off false. We log in, then do check off, still false. Don't know what else we're using for authentication. It's not as easy as that. Yeah, F3. I'm wondering if I'm shooting myself in the foot trying to do it this way. Just to work around their little problem with... No, I do want this. I do want this separation. Because this thing, I'm going to work on it all the time. And it's going to drive me up the wall if I have to restart the authentication service over and over and over. The problem is how to pass through the authentication details. So in the auth server, when we're executing check auth, which, by the way, are we even doing that here? Yeah, we are. Right? We're fetching check auth from the internal thing. Oh, wait, what if I do this? I should still have the cookie. No, the cookies won't transfer through. The cookies will not transfer through. Wait a second. Hand check off. Is authenticated is not in here. Did I not restart this? Did I not restart that? False. Login. Check auth. False. So it doesn't transfer the authentication like that. What if we do something different here? We're gonna put that here under index and then check auth. We're just gonna proxy through. No, I'm an idiot. I'm gonna get myself confused here. Yeah. What I really want to do is we want to do this on handle index here. Right. And then check auth. We're actually going to put into our proxies. Proxy routes. Like that. So if we proxy check auth through, and let me do this, bugging me. All right, so and index fonts. Okay. Do I? Yeah, we don't care about that at the moment. We care what's happening here. So if I log in and now check auth, it still comes through as false. If I do a logout, check auth, false. If I do a login, okay, it's asking us to sign in. I'm gonna sign in. This authenticate, false, false, false. Ah, ow, 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 what the hell? What's happening to my audio? It felt like, I don't know, somebody hitting a microphone membrane. That was loud and uncomfortable. Okay, I don't think I'm gonna handle this before lunch. It's already past 1 o'clock, so I think I'm gonna take a break here. I'm trying to think what could be going wrong here. Maybe it uses something else than cookies to pass through. One last thing I could do is actually display the cookies on the other end. So we'll have something like this, and like this. Right, and then here we'll have check auth, we'll do server. Don't confuse ourselves. And then we'll restart this. Right? My god, why does it not scroll? I don't understand. Alright. Boom. Login. Is authenticated. We have a cookie. False, 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 false. Is authenticated is false. Is false. Why? Oh, do we need to handle the Kinder callback? But we're forwarding the Kinder callback as well, aren't we? We're straight up proxying that. Is there some other data that I'm missing besides the cookie? I don't think there should. I don't think there should be. Maybe because the ports numbers don't match. Maybe because they don't match the external ports. Boost, logout, redirect. Sure, you're out. No, I think they're all good. Thanks, Bremster. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break. You're right, Bremster. I need a break. Thanks for sticking around. Appreciate your company. Nice to see you every day. I guess the time zones overlap differently. Although, considering my dad usually insists on early morning calls, I'm guessing it's quite late for you in the evening. All right. Well, thanks for hanging out. This is all a bit messy, and unfortunately, man, people don't document stuff. There's no documentation. There's no way for me to find this out short of reading the source code. And as you saw, even the most basic one-line statement takes me through like 4 different repositories and 10 different files. It's a little painful. And maybe it's my own fault for trying to do something fancy. Maybe I should get rid of that and just go back to the normal method. It's also interesting that the login just goes straight through. So it's kind of like I'm still logged in on the far end, on their end, on the SDK side. So I don't know exactly how that works out. But I'd love to figure out how to do these internal services. Yeah, it's like, as far as I know, this is the only information that's getting passed around. It's a little strange. I guess the other thing I can try is running... Yeah, why don't I run the authentication service on 3000 and my own service on 3001? Because then the authentication service runs exactly on the port that it's supposed to, right? And I don't have to guess. Like, I don't have to, oh yeah, I don't even have to, like, I don't have to wonder if that's the problem. If I rerun that, that'll run on 3001. If I kill that and rerun that, and now if I run this on 3001, like this, and then I say login, verification successful. That's very different. And if I refresh this, and if I, oh, 3001, and if I press check auth here, it comes through as true. Okay. Now the question is, can I redirect in the site URL? If I say login here, see, it redirects me through 3000. If I change that in the configuration, that after the login, it sends me to 3001. If I do check authentication, it's true. If I say logout, authentication false. If I say login, now log in, it sends me to here because I didn't restart the service. Okay. If I change it the other way around now and it doesn't work, maybe it's the callback that's the one thing. So we might, proxying the callback might not have worked then. Okay, let's restart that, and let's restart that. So if I refresh this, we're not Yeah, if I check authenticate, blah, 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 right, login. Okay, we're still on 3001. Now we're checked in. If I log out, you success sign out, close the window. How did this not redirect me? Supposed to send me to logged out. So it doesn't, man, there's something weird going on. It doesn't like the mismatch between the IPs and the URLs and all that stuff. But it's very close. It's very close. I think I can make it work. No, they're not auto-renewing. They don't support auto-renewing for my use case, unfortunately. They auto-renew for if you're using somebody else's software. They don't, unfortunately, they don't have an auto-renew service for Sven's custom SudokuPad server software, unfortunately. It's fine. I'll get my own warnings. They're never not renewed. The problem is never me not knowing about it. The problem usually is not even me not doing it. The problem is me making a mistake, right? Anyway, that's it. This was an interesting reversal, except there's no other weirdnesses going on. So I'd rather be able to do it completely from one side to the other. So that it would be a bit nasty if they're using the current domain and compare it to the configuration and then do different things. That would be pretty nasty. Because that would mean I can't necessarily kind of artificially forward things. The other option I have is to kind of get rid of that automatic proxying and trying to do this completely manually. You know what? Now that I say it out loud, it makes kind of sense. So what if I do this? Okay, let me change it back to 3000. So all the configuration is on 3000. Let me run the server on 3000 and let me run the authentication server on 3001. So now, instead of proxying anything here, right? I should be able to go here on 3000. And I probably want to restart these. Restart this. Okay. Now if I click on login, it'll do this. Right. Now, if we do this, now the problem I foresee is passing cookie information and stuff like that back. If I do this, right, and then I'll do fetch login on 3001. And do this. Now if I look here, I'm guessing the header will be a redirect header. Alright. And the login. Status 200. Okay, so we're gonna do some little bits like this. Status. Headers. So cookies comes back as null, which is interesting. Here doesn't say anything. Body. So next. I think I have to await this, or maybe even await body. Does this do a redirect? If I do let res text, and then we'll just say res text is yada yada, right? And then response.send res text. If we do this, I thought the login page would actually redirect. Here it redirects. Why does it not redirect here? Am I missing something, like ignoring server headers or anything like that? Is there something in the source here? How many times did I say now that I'll stop for the day? Like, maybe there's some JavaScript that does the redirect? Dist assets is offload.js. Could it be that it's trying to find files that don't exist? Oh, yeah. Okay, so... No, but excuse me, these don't exist on the other one either. Unless they're injecting those routes. Interesting. Like, if I take this route, for example, and I go here, does it exist here? I don't think so, right? Because if I don't set up this route, it doesn't exist. So, it's not the JavaScript that does the redirect. It's not a header, because that should still work. It could be some HTTP header, but I'm not seeing it. I mean, it's a 200 return, right? Header list, header list. Raw headers. Can I get raw headers? Response dot headers. So if I do this, right? What actually do I get? We don't want the whole length here. The whole thing. Too much stuff. Yeah, 25k. All right, fine. Headers list. Connection keep alive. Transfer encoding, content type. Coding. Is there a location header? I don't see a location header. What if I do this? Can I turn these into an array? Not sure. Yes, I can. All right. I'm just checking if there's a location header that I'm somehow not forwarding. No. How does it do that redirect? If I go here and go to login, and I say preserve log, and I can do preserve log here as well. Preserve log, right? I do this. How do we go from here to here? It's like it does some sort of magic detection where it then does the redirect somehow as part of the middleware. The weird thing is it doesn't do it when I'm accessing it from here. Whatever detection it does. So the question is, can I extract this stuff from this response here? I think, can I search this? What's the thing? Can I search for something like PSID? Is it this? Hidden. Oh, wait a second. Input hidden redirect. Does this form auto submit? Intent. M:/login. Confirm ID. You know what? Might just be good enough. So if this is what's coming out of there, I can probably shorten it. Now, can I get this directly from somewhere else? Here, PSID. So if I do this, in theory, I might be able to just... I think I need to do this. So if I can get that, if I can do this and do just a everything, this stuff, and then not double quotes, a bunch of those, and that's it. Right. If I do this, go back to here. Yeah, we don't need all of that. We just... X0. Do this, right? You get that. Okay, so if I say, and my keyboard is getting some hair on my keyboard, and it's not an April Fool's joke. Let PSID equals, no, equals to whatever this is. Probably want to do that, right? And then I should be able to create that other URL with that PSID. And let redirect URL equal this. Like that. Do this now. We got that. And then I should be able to do an express redirect. Express redirect. Enjoy your TV, Bramster. Express my passing some best of redirect. So we'll just do a response.redirect with this URL. Maybe that'll do the trick. Okay. Oh, we don't see a way to authenticate at the moment. So this doesn't seem to include all the data. Is there something else that's getting passed along? I think there's more to it than that. Oh yeah, there's a lot more. Wait, where did all this other stuff come from? Okay, I guess most of that is from the configuration. Where did I get these from? Did I get that from? Wait, so this one redirects to what? Wait a second. This one redirects to all of this. Okay. But if I do this, oops. Client ID, direct URI, date. Where do all these come from suddenly? Yeah, instead of doing that, I need to go back to here. Right, log in and state. Oh, I just looked at the form confirmation. There's a bunch of other things here that probably get combined in some weird way, right? So if I... Damn it. If I look at all these, and I get rid of the input stuff. Nope. Okay. So, the redirect is this part. That's where we get the PSID from, which we're actually getting from there. We have a CSRF whatever token. So let's just get that CSRF. Just get pulled from that. That. And we're just gonna this here. Okay. So that's the CSRF. Now the length, the relative length, they're the same. So it'll be my guess. And then we have a P connection ID. So con ID goes here. That goes there. So we have 3 of these numbers. And how many do we need? 1, 2, 2. We need a client ID and a state ID. Okay, unfortunately, we don't know which is which. Okay, state. How about we try this as client ID, and then the CSRF ID as state. If I do this, and then do this, invalid callback URL. The application please register the callback URL in the Kindle admin area. Why does it work on the other one though? Like if I refresh this, this is still valid. The thing is, I can't I don't know how to force it to output the page and the like. I don't know what causes it to make one or the other. Like I might just be mixing these two up. Like this might have to go here and this might have to go here. Like if I do this, it says, yeah, but it's not, right? We know it's not because the same thing happens here. If I go to, nope, if I go here, and go log in, and make sure I preserve logs everywhere. Yeah, let's clear that, and then go here. It'll redirect me to here, and it starts with this one, 302 found. So it starts with this, right? It starts with this URL, and then it redirects to this one. And how are these different? Are these the same or are these different? Okay, it just redirects to this, and then it redirects again. It redirects again. So it generates, okay. And that's the actual first stage here. Boom, here, which I believe is probably also the same. Like, these are 3 times the same IDs, huh? And I don't know how these are correlating. If I look into these IDs, okay, so connection ID is actually undefined. Maybe connection ID is not relevant. And one of these is longer than the other. how do these generally compare? Versus client. I think state is shorter than client. So which is the shorter one? So PSID is then probably state. Client ID is probably CSRF. Now, if I go back to here, I don't want to do the redirect right now. I go back to here and log in. And I look at these. Like, here's a connection ID. But I'm not seeing it here, so I'm getting that syntax wrong. In P connection ID. Like, the same form seems to be in here a million times. That might also be a problem. Maybe it's once for each of the... Depends on the button, doesn't it? Doesn't it? If I look at this, like if I press this button, right? It actually executes or submits this particular form. So, PSID P underscore connection ID. Why does this not give me anything here? E underscore ID. Is there a break? White space? Anything? Connection. One ID here comes back. Doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. E-connection ID clearly exists. E-connection ID. I don't see the mistake unless this copy. But unless there's like a tab instead of a space after this part. On ID is undefined. God damn it. Why? What if, instead of doing this, just see what it returns. On ID is null. What about this? Still null. What about this? Name connection ID. If I do this, stringify. We'll do this. One. That. Do this. It's a tab. The motherfucker put a tab in there. Well, eat all the white space. The reason I didn't see it here, I forget, it reformats it and hides what there actually is from me. The bastards. Bastards. Bastard. All right. Yeah. I've, little things like that I've known in the past, and I've known them in the future, and in between I haven't known them. So then the question becomes, would this work? Find out. Oh, nope. If I put that there and put that there. Nope. Boom. Nope. What if we use this and con ID? Nope. All right. Well, this still doesn't work. So what the hell was I doing before when I was proxying it? Because it sure as hell wasn't redirecting me. I guess another thing I can try is to do the proxy and then snoop. All right. Let me put a note here. To do try proxy and snoop in and out values. All right. I need a break. This is not progressing anymore. Ooh, no. Get that. Anyway, only another hour overtime. That's it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for hanging out. Take care. Have a good weekend. Catch you guys on Sunday for a stream. But I have to decide if it's going to be one of these Cody streams or something more interesting. We'll see. Take care. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Ooh, I need to press the button.